Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. First up, thank you so much for everyone helping the channel get to 7,000 subscribers. I cannot believe we have got that high. Like, obviously I'd love the goal we got to 10,000, but to get to 7,000 in such a short time, thank you so much. So today we're going to be looking at my list of the top 10 NES games of all time. Now, as I always say, this is still very early days in its conception. Give it another year, we can revisit this, and it may change completely. So I think for a lot of this is going to be a lot of the big hitters, so don't expect any big surprises here, maybe one or two, but apart from that, I don't think we're going to get any big hitters. But mainly you might be watching this either to argue with me, or to just hear my opinion on these things. The NES had plenty of games, so I've got plenty to sink my teeth into, and as we do more and more for the podcast, I'm sure you lot are going to tell me which I should be playing, and which might go into my top 10. And if you do believe I deserve it, please hit that like, subscribe button, and comment, because it really helps the channel grow. If you want to hear more of me, we've got a weekly podcast, and we've also got a $1 a month Patreon, which you can find the link in the description below. As I said, this is my top 10 list, so it's highly subjective, but I want to hear from you guys. What is your favourite game of all time? Which game should have been on this list? Which game do I need to play right now? You need to let me know in the comments, people. So let's get into it, shall we? My top 10 NES games of all time. At number 10, Mighty Final Fight. Alright, this is probably going to be one of the ones you're thinking, how did this make it up here? Well, it's quite simple, let's be honest. I was playing Final Fight Streetwise for the podcast, which is on the PlayStation 2, and that is a god-awful game. You should listen to this week's podcast, by the way. It's god-awful. And why do we do terrible games for the podcast? Because it's sometimes fun to point holes in the bad games. Just because it's a bad game doesn't mean it's going to be a bad podcast episode. But either way, Final Fight Streetwise is a terrible game, and I needed something to refresh my palate. So I jumped over to Mighty Final Fight, and it was a breath of fresh air. This game reimagines the original Final Fight from the arcade onto 8-bit hardware. So it's quite familiar, so you know the characters. You've got Cody, Guy, and Hager, but they're all in like chibi or super deformed art, and it's like really cute. And I love it. The game's just so colourful, it's very playful, and it's still a good beat-em-up. It's still a really good game because it's not just those punches and kicks. Each character has their own moves, but they also gain new moves as you level up and gain experience, so it's sort of like an RPG. And it sort of encourages that replayability because you want to go through it with each of the characters. And I really think it's a good game. You can just play it for half an hour. It doesn't take that long to finish. There's only a few levels, and you can sit down, have a nice happy time, nice smile on your face, and get back to what you're doing. The music's great, the colours are great, and as I said, this is probably the one which will leave the top 10 quicker than any other game than compared to what I might do in a year's time or so. But because of the mindset I was in, I had to put this in. Again, some of you are going to go, this is never a top 10 game. That's fine. River City Ransom is well better. Turtles is better. I can hear that. I'll hear that in the comments. I really will. But for now, let me just have my headspace where I was. Thank you very much. They look so goddamn cute. And number 9, Final Fantasy. Yes, the original one. Now, I know there are many better versions of this game. There is the PSP version, which is good. There's also the Pixel remaster, which I've played. But the original itself, you have to admit, was still very groundbreaking. Now, for fans of the channel, they'll know that Final Fantasy VII is my favourite game of all time, but it was always good to experience the original, and yes, I know there are flaws with it, but along with Dragon Quest, which may appear on this list, it set a new standard for RPGs. Players went out and had this massive adventure along this big sprawling map. You fought bosses, you saved the world, you went into dungeons. But unlike Dragon Quest I, which originally was just one party member, here you had 4, and you had a choice of giving them one of 6 distinct classes. So the party would face many enemies, which was great, and I know there was a targeting issue. I know that's a big arse, I really do. But I don't know how you really plan for it. It's a pain in the backside, but we have to deal with it. We know it's there. But if you played the Pixel remaster, all that's gone, okay? It just plays like a normal RPG game. But I played that recently with the wife and 2 kids. She didn't care. Like, I literally named it our family. She didn't give a shit. But the story for its day was very ambitious, and it somehow brought in time travel, which I still, to this day, do not understand fully. Someone can explain to me. Oh, God, it just baffles my head. It really does. And the music, the Nobuo Uematsu's fantastic music was there as well. And that song, that opening prelude song, has been with Final Fantasy ever since. At number 8, Fire Emblem. Okay, this is a Famicom game. It was never released outside of Japan. Okay, it did later on. I think they put it on the Switch for like a limited time for some reason. Now it's not there anymore. But either way, I played the original Famicom version. And look, Fire Emblem itself, we all know what it is today. But back then, it was very, very niche. It actually invented its own subgenre, the tactical RPG. And goddamn, I love tactical RPGs. So this is where it's a strategy game, but it's based on a grid based. So characters move along the grid, then they do their attacks, and I love these sort of games. In the original, you play as Marth, and you control an army, each with distinct classes, weapons, and personalities. Now, we all probably know Marth from Smash Brothers, because that's where probably the majority of us got introduced to him. Now, I have played the DS remake. That's the first time I played this game. I think it's called Shadow Dragon, and I really liked it. But when I got one of my consoles, it had this on there, so I wanted to play the original game. And I was amazed about how close the DS remake is to the original Famicom version. Like, okay, aside from graphics, we can all look at that, that's fair enough, in the art style. But when it came to the actual gameplay itself, it's near enough carbon copy. Like, literally, the enemy placements are the same, the item placements are practically the same. So I was like, I've got no problem playing this. But this game itself is very hard. Yes, it is a challenging game. Fire Emblem's games are always hard, but the original is something else. And we have the permadeath system, where if your character dies in battle, they're gone forever. So you're either going to have to get on with the rest of the story, or reset. And when my waifu is dead, I am resetting the game all day long. So when I went back and played the Famicom version, it just felt so refreshing, because I knew everything from the DS version. When I beat the game, it felt really satisfying because it was just as hard on this console than it was on the DS. And if you love the Nintendo DS version, or just Fire Emblem in general, you really should go give the Famicom game a go, because it's still very playable with basic graphics, although it can be a little bit slow. So you might want to speed that up, and you'll also need a translation hack. Okay, it's one of those things, it's there, but really enjoyed it. And now I'm looking forward to playing Fire Emblem Gaiden, which is also on there. And number 7, Dragon Quest III. To say I love Dragon Quest is a bit of an understatement. I have at least one form of every game that's ever been made. Well, of the mainline games, I should say. And when it comes to number 3, I've got a Japanese Game Boy version, I have the Super Famicom version, I have the HD remake version, and I have the original Famicom version. Yeah, and I also went out and bought the HD remake of 1 and 2 yesterday. So yeah, Dragon Quest is a thing for me. But this is the last RPG on the list. And when it comes to 3, I have a big special place for it in my heart. Unlike the first 2 games, which either you're on your own or you had a party, you can make the party as big or as small as you want. You can just have the hero, or you can have multiple party members go with you with a spare ones, and a few different classes to go with. You can also then later change those classes, which allows you to be mixing stats and abilities, which was really unique. And the battle system has just improved from everything from the first 2, including a live show of Puff Puff. No, not really, but Puff Puff is a thing in those games, which I was like, wow. Japanese culture meets West, blown away by these things. I did love the graphics, and it was obviously basic to today's standards, and I still love the artwork of Akira Toriyama. I love this game's sense of freedom and the fact that I can pretty much go everywhere. Now, I know all the critics of this game is that the story is pretty episodic, like a Saturday morning cartoon show, but essentially there is still an overarching story, which you find is a big twist at the end. Like, you're trying to find out what happened to your father, the legendary warrior Ortega, who's just went missing after your birth. And eventually the story does culminate with you finding him, but it's very, very sad. End of the day, the story is great. There is a big emotional payoff, and if you've not had the game spoiled to you, the twist at the end is absolutely brilliant. I've played this game many times through all the different generations, and I absolutely love it. As I said, Dragon Quest has a special place in my heart, but don't worry, we're not going to be seeing any more. At number 6, Castlevania. Here's for me when the difficult games come in, and like I said, the list is pretty much from now on filled with the standard titles. You can probably guess what the top 5 are going to be. When it comes to difficult games, you know, that is really embodied by Castlevania games, and I love them. I love difficult games. I love ones that are going to challenge me. When it comes to Castlevania 1, I actually prefer this to the remake of Super Castlevania that was on the Super Nintendo. Here you play as the vampire hunter, Simon Belmont, armed with a trusty whip, the vampire killer, as you go through the Dracula's castle, armed to slap the shit out of the Count himself. You have to travel through many levels and battle a range of different enemies and bosses, excluding those goddamn Medusa heads. I'm fighting them recently on Castlevania 3, just for shits and giggles, and they're still a pain in the arse. Like, the game is difficult, the game is very challenging, but when you get your reps in, you'll slowly start to progress, and actually you'll go, actually I can do this without even getting hit, and you feel like pretty much like a god when that happens. The gameplay is tight and very responsive, although I will admit Simon does jump very rigidly, and he does fall like a goddamn stone. Jesus, when he goes off a platform, it's like someone's just put 6 rocks on his ankles and whoosh, he goes right down. And I also know the goddamn steps are the biggest killer in this game. You have to get used to it. If you don't press up or down, you go straight down. If you see steps, no, you can't jump on them, you jump through them. I guarantee the steps have killed more people off in Castlevania games than any other before it. The levels of this game are just simply beautiful, the art style is great, and the monsters look amazing. And the soundtrack is ace as well, like, come on, it is. And before we get to the top 5, I just want to ask a question. What do you guys want to see? What more top 10s do you want to see? It turns out a lot of you like the NES content, but I want to hear, what top 10s do you want to see? Is it top 10 scariest enemies? Top 10 Dreamcast games? Top 10 best bad guys? Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see. I'm not going anywhere, but it's just nice to hear from you guys and get some feedback of how you think the show is going. Alright, let's get back into number 5. And going to number 5, it's Ninja Gaiden. Now, I said I like difficult games, but also I like torture. Like, let's be honest, if you know me, it was always going to be on here. This game tells the story of Ryu Hayabusa, I said that in one cut, a young ninja who travels to America to avenge his father's death. Like, I was absolutely blown away the first time I played this. I know the gameplay's one thing, but it's the cutscenes and the storytelling. I was like, holy crap, this is an NES. It's like a movie. It was awesome. And you can sit there and go, yeah, this resembles Castlevania in its skin, but Ryu's like a ninja. It's like having Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. They both look the same, but they do different things. If you know what I mean, I'm trying to explain. It's the best I can do, alright? They have a similar little over-face thing, but yeah, they do different things. Compared to Simon Belmont, Ryu jumps around like a goddamn flea, and it is so much fun. But my god, you have got to be absolutely accurate in all your inputs and attacks, because the enemies are brutal. And the annoying thing is they'll reappear the moment you screen refresh. Literally go 1 pixel left or 1 pixel right, and they're back again. Especially those goddamn fucking birds near the end. I know my kids are around and I'm swearing, but I hate those goddamn fucking birds so much. I swear to God, if I saw the developer, I would slap the spit out of their mouth and say, why did you invent them? This isn't a game you can just pick up and go. This is literally get your reps in and get good. And the game is extremely difficult, including Jackio, who, if you'd watched the previous video we've done, if you lose to him, well, you go back all the way from 6.4 to 6.1, which is so demoralizing, and I goddamn hate the developers for doing this. I can't see why they did this, apart from just being fun. When I think of developers when they must have done this, it makes me think of that time in South Park where the boys go to the cable company and they just start twisting their nipples when the boys start complaining, going, "Ooh, it hurts you so much, does it? Ooh, do you hate going from level 6.4 to 6.1? Ooh, it took you so long? Ooh, it was so challenging. Ooh, I'm so sorry." And literally they're sitting there going, "Ooh, nipples." I know that's probably not an image you were thinking you were going to be having today, but here it is. This is the channel we have here. I'm sorry. You should hear the podcast. The podcast is far worse, this sort of thing. I will have this in your head every day. Yeah, sorry. But going back to Ninja Gaiden, it's a fantastic game with a great story, great music, great presentation, brutal gameplay and difficulty, but I like that sort of thing, so of course it's going to appear high on my list. At number 4, it's The Legend of Zelda. Yes, it's the original, and it redefined what games could be. It introduced open world exploration, this non-linear progression, and it had that sense of discovery that captivated an entire generation. Like, it's a huge open world where basically Link's told, right, fuck off out the cave, here's a sword, go. Like, I thought Pokemon was brutal when it's like, here's your first little rat, piss off, at 10 years old. No, here's a sword, now go fight for your life. Poor Link's probably like, I've just got through puberty and now I've got to go do this. Jesus Christ. Like, I am actually looking forward to playing this another time with my daughter. Like, she's only 6, but I showed her the map and said, oh, would you like to recreate this map, and we'll go by square by or rectangle by rectangle and we'll do it and make our own map. And my plan is to actually put it up on the wall So a 6-year-old drawing of this map, I think that'd be pretty cool, and she can look back at it when she's like in her 20s and go, shit, I was a terrible artist. But I just think it'll be a nice little daughter-father bonding thing. I don't know, let me know what you think. The whole exploring thing was fantastic in this game, so Link had to go explore Hyrule and tackle the many dungeons when he wanted, with a huge array of tools, and he had the bombs, the boomerangs, the bow, and the combat system was tight and responsive. It still plays well today. I've played it again recently, it's great. Like, the music is iconic as well. Like, that opening music just hits, and let's be honest, we've heard it in orchestral forms, we've heard it in, like, cyberpunk forms. It's great, it knocks it out of the park every time. It was also the first NES game to have a battery save feature that I know of. Someone can have a go at me and say it wasn't. But the fact it had a battery save function was just needed because this game was so momentous and so big. Like, you needed something to record your progress, otherwise try and do this in one sitting. Although I guarantee there'll be people who go, well, I can do this in one sitting. Well, good for you. Good for you. I think the main reason why this game did so well, and the reason I like it so much, is it had that sense of adventure. Like, look at Breath of the Wild. Like, Nintendo wanted to recreate that formula, so the way I see it, Breath of the Wild is essentially The Legend of Zelda 2, unofficially. But it is, because it's just like, here you go, have fun, knock it out of the park. Because I looked at it and went, that's exactly the same feeling I've got playing the original NES game to playing this. But I love playing that original NES game, probably more than Breath of the Wild, to be honest, because my sword doesn't break every 5 fucking minutes. And number 3, Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah, I've only got this at number 3. I know, some people go like, whoa, 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 are you okay, Danny? Put down the drink. It is morning here, like very early morning, but, you know, it's okay. I'm doing okay. I'll start drinking properly at about 8 a.m., okay? Now, this is widely considered one of the greatest video games ever made, not just on the NES, but entire history of gaming. I don't put it as one of the best games ever made, personally. You can hate me, whatever. That's just my opinion. It doesn't give me the same feeling as other games in my tum-tum as others do. Now here you can control Mario and Luigi across 8 huge worlds, and they're filled with unique enemies, environments and secrets. It's great! And gone with those simple linear levels of the previous Mario games, here it's a whole world. Like, you can go in the direction you want, you can revisit stages, find hidden content, and it had this layer of strategy because you wanted to get different items and put them in your little bank, which was so cool. Like, the new items yourself, you had the Super Leaf, which turned Mario into a raccoon, you had the Frog Suit, the Hammer Suit, Tanuki Suit. Brilliant. So many different power-ups. So I think I played Super Mario World first, I think going back in my childhood brain. So going back into Super Mario Bros. 3, I was like, whoa, he's got way more power-ups than this one. Like, like having the frog suit just in itself, I was like, oh, I can freaking swim properly. Because Mario does not swim, he's like, blah, 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 blah. Swims better than me. I'll put that, to be honest, I'm not a good swimmer, considering I live in Australia. You think I should know this stuff. But no, he does swim quite well. At the end of the day, Mario Bros. 3 is a technical marvel. Its visuals are bright, it's colourful, it plays incredibly well. I prefer playing Mario Bros. 3 to Mario Bros. 1 all day, because I think Mario Bros. 1, he's just very slippery. Here, he's just so responsive. And I think from Mario Bros. 3, they just got it spot on. It really, Mario was just mwah from that point on, it really was. But I just don't think it was the best game on the NES. And number 2 in the runner-up, Mega Man 2. Again, people thinking, what the hell is number 1? Because you've hit another big hitter out. Yes, Mega Man 2 was a fantastic looking game. It's great. It brought in the 8 Robot Masters, the level design is fantastic, the game is challenging. Like, again, it's not like Ninja Gaiden hard or Castlevania hard, but it still requires practice. Like, the first one is ridiculously brutal, but this one has like a fair difficulty curve, I'd say. The graphics are great, the music is great. Like, I love the Robot Masters in this game. The Metal Blade has become one of the best weapons ever in video games. It makes everyone your bitch. I'm debating making a best NES weapons, like top 10 NES weapons, and the Metal Blade's going to be in there. 100% the NES Blade is going to be... The NES Blade. The Metal Blade is going to... I'm not editing that out. The Blade's going to be in there. It surely is. You should actually... I think that might be one of my next videos for next week. Top NES weapons. So we're going to have to start making a combination of what it could be. And considering there were 4 more Mega Man games after this on the NES, like 2 has always been my favourite, and I still love coming back to it again and again. And that's the same for everybody else. I know someone could say, oh yeah, Mega Man 3 is my favourite, but Mega Man 2, it just rocks for me, it really does. And at number 1 of the winner, Castlevania 3. Yes, I know it's a strange one. People might be thinking, hang on, no, put down the alcohol, you are definitely drinking now. I just love Castlevania. I love the Castlevania spirit, I love the series, I love the difficulty level, I love the aesthetic. And the fact here it touched up everything from the first game and it amped it up to incredible levels, it was just insane. Here you're now playing as Trevor Belmont, and God, I love Trevor. Maybe it's the Netflix anime has had an influence on this, because you really did get a sense of the character growth here compared to a lot of other video games. And I said, I love Trevor Belmont. I want to be Trevor Belmont. And the interesting thing about this game is that you can go by this by yourself, so you can do a completely only Trevor run, or you can take one of the multiple paths that you have to go, and you get options to recruit one of 3 characters, and they're your partner for the rest of the adventure. So that could be Grant, who's an agile pirate. It could be Cypher Belnades, a powerful sorceress, who is a man when you first meet them. I don't think Trevor realised what he was getting himself into. He's like, oh, it's a woman. Oh. It's a Samus thing all over again. Like, I love playing with Cypher, it's great. Don't clip that. Don't clip that. That's horrendous. No, cut. I'm not cutting it. And finally, Alucard, who's Dracula's son, and he can turn into a bat. And he's cool. But he's not as cool as he is in Symphony of the Night. Like, each character plays completely differently, and you're able to switch them on the fly with just select. So it could either be Trevor and Cypher, Trevor and Grant, or Trevor and Alucard. And it basically means that each playthrough is very distinct. Like, you can go up the top, you can go up the bottom, and you make the game how you want. So there are so many different levels here, and you can master one of them, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go do a different route. I'm going to have to master that level. And this in itself makes the game challenging so many different ways. So, for example, I love playing with Cypher. Again, shut up. I love using her as a character, and she has the ability to freeze stuff, and I love freezing stuff because I'm like, fuck off, bitch! But then that makes some segments easier. For Trevor, it might be a bit more difficult. But if I'm not going to use her and just do a Trevor-only playthrough, I'll be like, oh, well, this is going to be difficult. And trying to use Cypher for bosses is quite difficult compared to Trevor. So just an example, like, again, that replay value is there. Like, the level design is also insanely good. Like, you've got the crumbling castles, the forest, the clock towers, the haunted cathedrals. Like, the environment's just oozing that class, and you can feel the NES is like, come on, I can do this. Each level is very challenging to do. That's what Castlevania is, and it's difficult. Maybe not Ninja Gaiden difficult, but still difficult. And the controls are tight and responsive to a point. I've mentioned them before in the Castlevania section earlier on. That's still a problem here. Stairs is still a bastard. They're a bastard. There always will be. Once you know how the character's going to react, you get there. You're fine. I think it's just the fact that you clear a section that you've been struggled with time and time again, and it's an amazing feeling that you do it, and then when you're able to do it without even getting hit, it just feels so good. The music's incredible in this game, well, especially the first level as well. And that's it. That is my top 10 NES games of all time. And as I said, this is subject to change, and we may revisit this again in another year, when I've played more NES games. Again, I can keep playing NES games all the time now. So you've got to tell me, what is your top 10? What is your favourite game? What are games I need to play right now? And what lists do you want to see in the future? As always, if you do think I deserve this, please hit that like and subscribe button. Come join me over at the podcast and join the Patreon if you want to get involved. Until then, I'll see you all on Friday. My name's been Danny. Take care of yourself. Follow your dreams.